all of you are staying safe, staying healthy, your family as well. And basically, just wanted to give you a little bit of background. I mean, this session, obviously, I'm sure you can imagine from the email, it's meant to give you more ideas, more resources, a little bit of help and support when it comes to this totally new situation that everybody is going through. I really hope that you guys are all, staying well mentally as well. It's definitely tough, but this is an opportunity, I think, to kind of exchange ideas as well. Claire, you guys all know Claire from sessions with Gomia. She's a great part of the team. She's been with us for a while giving these sessions, and she was also able to give sessions last week to your coordinators. So some of you might have already even heard a little bit too about, from your coordinators, some ideas that are out there to kind of improve the situation and how to adjust the student teaching from home. So you have the chat available to you on the right-hand side, and I'll be here during the whole time if you also have questions, for us, from the admin team. But the idea, obviously, would be put questions or comments or your ideas, in the chat. And I'll pass it on to Claire now. I think that's pretty much it. And just enjoy the session. Thank you guys so much for being here. Hi, Claire.
Hello, everybody. So I think everybody knows me. If you don't know me, then I've been teaching English in Madrid now for almost 30 years. Long time. Time flies. Once you come to Madrid, you stay. You don't go. So I'm here still. And I've been giving you sessions. I think today some of my third years are here as well. So that's great that you're here. It's nice to see some of your faces coming up and thinking back to our old sessions. But anyway, we're in this situation now, and thank you for continuing on with the project, with the program, and still being here. As you know, even though we're working now from home, we're still, you're still working, you're still part of the program, you're still receiving your grant, which hasn't changed at all, and you're receiving that from your school. So even though you are at home, then there's still those hours, the school is still, have their rights to ask you for work for that. So what kind of work, can you provide, can you offer, can they ask you to do? That's what we're going to look at today. And so all this online business as well is not great for me either. I'm not the most technical of people. And so there's lots of learning new things, me particularly, I've had to do. So everything that we're going to look at today is things that you can do for your school from home during this coronavirus period that we're in. Okay, I've looked at the assistants that we've got at my school. There are 6 assistants in total. I'm one of them. Even though I coordinate them, and I'm one of them as well. So I'm the same as you. And also by looking on Facebook sites that I'm part of as well, like the BEDA Auxiliares website, and not website, I mean the Facebook page, and also the Auxiliares in Madrid, which I think also covers like the ministry program, and seeing what other people are doing for their schools. It's interesting to read, some of the comments, see some of the things that people are doing, and just collecting ideas, which I'm going to give to you today, and also from the point of view of my school, which is the Colegio Veneciano in Madrid, the kind of things that we're doing and the things that we're expecting our assistants to be doing, and which they're doing, and it's fine. So while I'm doing this, as Rebecca said, you've got the chat down there on the side as well, which if you'd like to share any information or anything that you're doing yourselves, you can write a message in the chat, which will appear, and also to any comments you'd like to make as well, then use that chat, and then I'll be able to we can all see it, and you can jot it all down as well. Now then, as far as keeping track, writing down all the names, I'm going to be giving you names on the chat anyway, but names of programs and names of, not programs, websites for doing different things. you will receive, after today, you will receive an email with all the names of everything that I'm going to talk about today is going to be on there. All the ideas are going to be there. And also there are links to the websites and also links to the videos, on YouTube, which will explain how to use how to do the things that you want to do. So they're there in English and in Spanish, because as Rebecca was saying, I did this talk as well last week for coordinators. So, and it's more or less the same. What I'm going to tell you today is more or less the same as I told the coordinators last week. So if they haven't got in touch with you already, they might probably start getting in touch. Okay. So, so yeah, so that's that. Right then. So, as far as I see it, there's three things you can do, all right, with this, you know, with providing your school with material to use. One is for you to record yourselves doing a class. No, sorry, you can do your class live, like we're doing now. This is a class. This is what I do with my students. We actually do use Meet, and we have Meet live classes with my students who are in ESO and Bachillerato. Talk about that in a minute. But you can also do live meets with primary and infants. I know some schools are doing it with infants. My school actually is not doing it with infants yet, but that's something they're still thinking about. But I know that other schools are doing it, and we'll look at ways that you can do it now. Another one is, as I said before, is recording yourself, recording a class, or even just recording some material, a song, a story with your voice that goes over it as well, which you can send on to the teacher, and the teachers can use that in their English classes. And the third way is just to help the school prepare material. Now, it could be material that they're using now in the, you know, for this situation to do online classes, or it could be just material that they're going to be using next year. So, for example, flashcards. I'm sure that none of you brought your flashcards home with you because you all thought you were going to just be home for a week or two. Everything, all the equipment is still, all the material is still left at school. But things like flashcards, you can make them online, and you can build up quite a nice collection of different packs of flashcards there, or even PowerPoints of vocabulary as well. You can prepare all of that. Cambridge preparation, you can prepare that at home. And send it on to the school, which the school can use now or can use later on. So, so there you can still be helpful. Now, I saw a remark from another assistant last week saying, well, my coordinator hasn't given me anything to do. So if I can help anybody with their projects or any of their work that they're doing, if I can help them, then here I am, and use me. Which is great. You know, I know that some people are not being used by their schools, but you know, if your coordinator phones you tomorrow and says, "Hey, we thought we're going to, you know, use some of your ideas and some of your things," then at least you've got a few things to hand here and now. Okay. So let's go on then. As far as the Meet sessions are concerned, like this, it would be good for your teacher that you normally work with to be present as well, you know, when you're giving your class, or without the teacher. You don't, with these kind of meets, so long as it's done through a school platform, then everything that happens, it doesn't matter that you are alone with the students. Now that's a question that I have, particularly because I'm with 3rd and 4th of ESO and Bachillerato, so it's not so important. But I was giving meets just myself and the students. That's fine, apparently. And also I was giving meets sometimes with just one student would connect. So while I'm there waiting for the students to connect, nobody else was coming. And we'd also received some very strict instructions from the school, you know, high office in the school, that no teacher was allowed to be one-to-one with a student in an online conversation. So I was a bit worried about that. But apparently, if you do it through the school platform, which has already been agreed on that it's used for educational purposes, then that's okay. All right. Right then. So let's start with infants. Okay. Now then, the kind of things that people are doing in infants. We've got, as I said, these live classes. Now, what could you do with infants with these live classes when they're so small? Well, first of all, you're going to be, you know that the parents are going to be there as well. So that's something that you can like take into consideration and bear in mind when you're doing your classes. Okay, you can do the daily routine. If you did a daily routine at your school, that's something that you can still do on these Meet classes as well. You can do songs, sing songs with them. You can actually do things like workouts, get them standing up, now stretch up, and put some music on and do some kind of workout with them, which at least gets them up out of their seat. So, you know, so they're doing some things. You can play Simon Says. That's something else as well you could do. Find something. So find something red. So they jump down and run around the house and find something red and show it to you in the camera. So yeah, silly games, but at least they're listening, they're understanding, and they're reacting to that. You could do picture dictations. So you dictate the picture, and they have and they draw the picture that you are that you're talking about. Now that's something that you'd have to tell or get the parents to know beforehand, is for them to have certain material prepared for those classes already on the table for when their child does the Meet session. So they need to have certain coloured pencils and things and paper and that as well. Another thing that I've seen that some assistants are doing as well is playing bingo with their students. Now, when they're so young, also with lower primary as well, when they're so young and you know, you haven't got the material to actually give them, I note to, hi, nice to see you too, Joe. Something that you can do, and what people are doing, is to send the grid of the bingo game to the parents via email. And so they can either print it out or they can just draw it for their child so that it's ready there, ready to go for when you do the bingo session. Okay. So that's one thing, bingo. Another thing that you could do is you say tic-tac-toe, I say noughts and crosses. So that's something else that the parents can actually draw the grid for the students, and then you can play with them with that. So perhaps each square would have a certain, the way I play it is that I have a word in Spanish, or I have a picture there, and they have to guess the picture. If they get it right, then they get their cross or their nought or their cross. Okay. I Spy, that's another one as well that you can play with them. So now going on to like recording videos of yourself. Now there's lots and lots of different websites that you can use to create videos of yourself, to create presentation of different material that you want to give to the students. Lots of them. We're going to look at some of them. I'll give you the names of some of them, but it's, you know, there are so many of them, I can't, you know, give them all to you. The idea really is just to give you a reduced number of things, so it's not, so you don't go crazy looking for stuff. So the one that I've seen that a lot of people are using is, I'm going to put it down here, Screencastify. Screencastify, okay. Assistants are doing videos of themselves, singing songs, going through vocabulary, reading stories or poems using Screencastify, and it seems to be working very well. You can also record your voice over the top and then send it on, or just do the video of yourself and send the whole thing to the school. Now, a very good example I saw of one of these, and probably you've seen it before, if you've been looking on the Facebook page, you might have seen it, is an assistant called Mariela, who's in fact a first year, and she did a story narration of Peter Rabbit by Beatrix Potter. Now, it was really very nice because she used like the original drawings from the book, which she found apparently just on Google, and by using her iMovie application, then she did the speaking herself of the story over the top of that. And so it was so good. She received so many comments. It really was very nice that she made a YouTube channel, and she's now got about 3 or 4 stories on there, which she says that anybody could use if they like. Now then, her name is Mariela, as I said, but her name on YouTube is Ella Bella, okay, and her YouTube channel is called Cuentos Providencia. Okay, and if you go on there in YouTube, you'll find the Peter Rabbit narration and also the other stories that she's been doing as well. So so that's great. And as she said, the way she did that was to use her iMovie app and just to make the video. And she recorded her voice on her telephone, in fact, and then just uploaded that to the movie that she made. Now, she used images from Google, which you can. But sometimes if you want to find a whole story, it's not so easy. So in fact, if you go into, there's a place called Openlibrary Org. Now, this is that right? Good. Okay, openlibrary.org. Now, what they do is it's a library which has something like 1.7 million books, which you can take out, you can borrow, you can do everything online, download them. And it has a lot of children's stories. So you can find the children's stories and do exactly the same as Mariela did. Find a nice story and read the story and make a little video of it so that you can send it to your school to be used. Okay. Okay, going on. Other websites which do help you produce explanation videos. Another one is called Loom. Okay. So if you go into there, it's really easy, step by step. It shows you how to do it. All right. Now then, if you're producing class material, if you want to produce class material for your school, they ask you to do that. Then one good place that we've got is Quizlet. Now on Quizlet, you can produce flashcards, and it's very easy because you go in and the first page is just like a plain flashcard, which you can create yourself. So you can upload photographs onto it. You can use your own photos. You can also go from Google and find Google Images and find images there. Or they also have a bank of photos, actually part of the website, which you can use them and just like stick them on the front of this flashcard. And then also you can flip it, and on the back you can write the word that if you're doing banana, then on the back you write banana, on the front there's a nice picture of a banana. Now you can produce about, let's say, I don't know, a pack of 20 fruit and vegetables flashcards to be used, and then you've got like a whole pack there which you can send on, and a teacher or yourself, when we eventually go back, then they can use that in the class without having to have a physical pack of flashcards. Okay. So you can do like one of food vocabulary, another one of clothes, another one of school equipment, whatever you like. All right then, so yeah, there are other places which other assistants mentioned that were really very good. Genially, I think, is one that's working very well as well. Prezi, of course, to do some kind of presentations as well. Another one called Vocaroo, Padlet. Okay, and Google itself. Google has its own slides, Google Slides, I think it's called. All right then, so going on to primary, lower primary now, we've got Google Meet again to do these kind of video calls that we're doing as well. Zoom is another one. Obviously, you probably use that one already just to talk to family and friends. I don't know. And the things you can do in an online class with lower primary, where you can do again the daily routine. We've also got different songs. You can do the workout. You can do Simon Says, bingo, I Spy. There's lots of things, okay, that you can do. 20 questions. that's another example of something that you can do on a screen with the students as well. Find something. Now, before we had find something blue. Now it's primary, you can say, use some more difficult words. Find something hard, that they have to run around and then come back and show it on the screen. All right. So also producing class material here. Our assistants that we've got working in the Colegio Veneciano have been producing vocabulary PowerPoints. So these vocabulary PowerPoints have been like a backup to the books that the students are using at school. Obviously, if you haven't got a copy of the book that the students are using, then you could ask your, teacher to say, okay, just tell me the, the vocabulary groups that you're going to be using, that we can, that I can create the PowerPoints for of vocabulary. Also, preparation for the Cambridge exams. Now, obviously, the Cambridge exams, we don't know whether they're going to take place this year or not, but it's still good things to practice in an English classroom. So it doesn't have to be something that you are actually studying at school. So some of the lower levels of the Cambridge exams have things like spot the differences. So if you go into the Cambridge webpage, which is actually on the information which you're going to be sent from by Esther and Rebecca, you'll see that on the Cambridge webpage there is a whole area of resources for teachers. So for the lower levels, they do have an awful lot of things like spot the differences or continue the story, things that you could use on a PowerPoint or some kind of presentation that you can give yourself to the class and do it, in a meet, or you can send it to the school for them to use. Okay, now then, another thing, battleships. Do you remember? I probably talked about battleships like 20 times to you already, but if you remember, like in the first year, it was in part of the pack. That's another thing that I've seen that assistants are using as well, which I'm very happy. Hope it's my battleships, but it's working very well and the kids are liking it as well. In fact, the pack that you're going to receive, well, it's three pieces of paper, but the battleship should be there again. If you can't find it from your pack of notes that you had years ago, then there's another copy there. But in fact, if you look online, you'll find it anyway. But the battleships where, it's like sinking boats, where you have down one side you have the ABC, across the top, or down the bottom you have the 1, 2, 3. But in the case, the way that I play it, now you can play it, to go through or to revise any grammar thing that you want. I use it to do question words. So down one side, we'll have the names of students in the class. Along the top or along the bottom, whichever way you play it, we will have verbs. So we've got play, swim, eat, run, these verbs along the top. So to be able to locate the ships, in each case, you would take the name across. So it would say, does Juan eat pizza on Thursday night? And if he gets the ship, yes, he does, or no, he doesn't. So that's good practice for question words in primary. Kahoot. Now, Kahoot is another one which we've actually played in my own classes. I think you with me. So Kahoot, that you can play that with the students. Now, there was a bit of some people were asking whether students need 2 screens to be able to see the questions on one screen and on the other screen to be able to choose, the choice that they make. But apparently now Kahoot has made it simpler for everybody, and so now you don't need 2 screens, you just need 1. I don't know how that works, but it's worth having a look, because Kahoot, all the kids love Kahoots. A lot of the kids have iPads at home, or even now that they're working from home, they need to have a computer at home. So they've got that access there to some kind of device that they can be able to play these interactive games with. So have a look and check that out, because it's a nice game. Zoom, I think I mentioned, yes, as well. You can do presentations from Zoom if you just open up a normal meeting, and then share my screen, and on the other screen you put whatever it is that you want to present to them. And then you record your voice, and your voice goes over the top of that presentation. Now, you can either choose to cut your face out completely, or you can also have the option of having a small round circle at the top of the screen with you inside it speaking and actually doing the speaking. Now, some people like to be on there, some people don't like to be on there. But one thing's for sure, and that's, we've had a lot of feedback from school, from the parents of the students at the school, who said that their children are really enjoying the conversations with the assistants for two reasons. One, because they can actually see people from school, and it makes them feel like part of school again, which is really nice. And also because the assistants classes tend to be a lot lighter and nicer, and so they miss that. And also because they like to see their friends again. So sometimes you can have a meet like now. And also with my older kids, I get them to turn their cameras off, so they can't see each other. Not for me not seeing them, but so that they can't see each other. And what that does, it gives them a bit of anonymity. This is for the older kids, but for the younger kids, I think they quite like to be there in the camera and talking with their classmates as well as with you, obviously. So that's up to you. And also, I know that some some assistants, their schools have told them that they can't appear on the videos, or any videos that they send, they can't appear on them. So you need to check with your school as to what they want, what they're willing to what they want exactly, and what you can do and what you can't do. You need to get that straight from the start. Okay. Right. Okay. Moving on. Another idea, if you can't actually show your voice, show your face when you're speaking, is another website called Voki. Okay, Voki, which is an avatar making site. Now it's very good. That's all it does, is just make avatars. So you can make yourself an avatar. It could look like you, it could look like a space monster, whatever you want. And the voice actually moves, and it looks around as you're speaking. So that's something that you could add to a presentation of your voice coming out of an avatar. And also it might be a way of getting the students to make their own avatars using this site, so that if you want them to upload any videos, any explanation videos themselves, then instead of them being on the video or in the screen, they can use their avatar as well. So that's nice as well for them to do that. Okay, going on. We've got Flipgrid. Flipgrid, that's another site where you can video yourself and upload them. So students, it's normally used by students to upload their project presentations. But then again, it depends on whether the school, wants you to use that or not. So, okay, so producing class material. We've got the vocabulary PowerPoints again, presentations. We've got Quizlets, as I said, which is for vocabulary. Sorry about that. Someone knocked on the door. And then there's another one called Mentimeter. Okay, Mentimeter. Now, Mentimeter is a good site particularly for making word clouds. Now, that's a nice other idea that you've got there, where your students can actually help you build a word cloud that you can have as your like class project word cloud, which is very visual, very nice with English words. So let's say you were doing your presentation you were doing a project presentation with them about, I don't know, the place where you're from in the United States, or about a famous person that you're studying. Then at the end of the class, you could say, okay, I want everybody to send me 2 words that they think of when they think of this place. And then with those words, you can put them all together. And using Mentimeter, you can make a nice word cloud. Right then, so going on now to secondary, all right. As I said, I do my live classes with my secondaries. They're 3rd and 4th of ESO, so I've had my fair share of images of well-endowed naked men in front of the camera, and I've also had nice sexual sounds going on in the background of our meet session, but that only happened at the beginning, so it doesn't happen anymore. Also, I don't have a teacher with me while I'm doing that. It doesn't bother me, but it might bother you. So, and also it's a time when the teacher, as before, can like go off and do something else. So really, you should say at the beginning, you know, are you going to be present in my meet sessions with the students? So, you know, it's nice having them there. It's nice to see a face there that can like help you with it, especially if you're with the, you know, with children that you're not too sure about. What I do with mine as well is also I'm given free rein with my meet sessions, which can be a blessing, but can also make life difficult as well, because you have to come up with the speaking topics all the time. Now I do 30-minute sessions in each 1-hour class. So I do the first half of the class comes with me for a meet session, and then they, at the end of the half hour, they go back to their normal classroom and do the classwork while I have the other half with me. So it's good because I've only got 15 students maximum at a time. And of those 15, particularly with the older kids, only half of them turn up. So normally I've got about 7 or 8 students in the class, which is nice. And it's the kids who want to be there. Now then, because they don't show their faces, I found that it's been particularly useful for older kids that never usually speak in class. And they like the idea that nobody's looking at them. They're not embarrassing themselves. And so they're speaking more. And that's something positive that I think has come up, you know, out of this. So I have my speaking topics, which I've got for teenage speaking topics. So I've got like crime. Yes, we've got ghosts and aliens, new technology, things that annoy you, things that teenagers like. And so we speak about those things, and I get just a normal conversation going. And also, I take attendance. Now, on Meet itself, it does take attendance. It records attendance to everybody that was in a meeting. Like now, for example, it's all recorded there who attended. And also people that left, people that entered, that's all there attended. But I like to actually do it myself, because my attendance lists I give to my teachers. I send them to my teachers. And so what I do is every day I will just make a note like this, okay, and write down the people who enter. Because the one thing it doesn't do, the actual Meet application, what it doesn't do is say who participated and who didn't participate. And for me, and for the teacher, that's important to know. So what I do is I do handwritten, also because I'm old and handwritten, I like it better. So I write down all the names of the people as they join. And also I put a tick next to the ones who actually speak. And also I make little notes as well as to whether, you know, they behave themselves or not. I make a note of all the strange accounts, strange names of people that were asking for permission to join. Things like Shrek Love and things like that. Not allowed to let them in because they're not part of the Meniciano account. So yeah. So that's what I do. And then at the end of the week, then I make some kind of chart using Google, just a document, and I will put like a table in there with all the names of all the students, and then I have a color-coded thing. So I have like who attended, who didn't attend, who abandoned, who had technical trouble, and then I send that to the teacher at the end of the week, and they're very happy. So yeah, so that's an idea, something that you could do. So what kind of things could you do as well if you don't want to do the normal speaking topics? You could do a show and tell. So you can ask the students to come in with something that means a lot to them and give them a minute each to be able to talk to the rest of the group about this object or this thing that they want to in English. So that's an idea. The Cambridge practice, as I mentioned before, for primary, there's lots of Cambridge exercises and activities that you can do with them to practice the actual things that they'll need for the Cambridge exams. So I've seen another assistant on one of the Facebook pages was talking about how she spent whole classes just showing the students the photographs of her trip to Cuba. Obviously, she took out the one she didn't want them to see first, had a good look through first, and then just showed them to the students, and they talked about it. So it was something that the students had never seen and was interesting for them, and it made for a nice, interesting conversation. Another assistant I know, not one of mine, but they did a cookery class for the class. So they set up their laptop in their kitchen and actually gave them a class of how to make cookies or how to carve a pumpkin, although it's not Halloween time. But those kind of things, this is a good opportunity to be able to give those kind of classes that you've always wanted to give and showing them how to do things. Like you can do scientific experiment classes. That would be cool. There was another assistant who did how to mend the puncture on his bike, which is so nice. There's like life experiences that you can share with the students, and they're not going to get anywhere else apart from at home. But the fact that you're doing it, and it makes it a lot nicer, I think. Nearpod. Now this is something that I'd never seen before, and I went in just to check it out and see the kind of things that I could do with it. Now, Nearpod is just the same as all the rest. You can video yourself, you can make presentations, you can send the presentations, all these things as well. But the thing that I liked about Nearpod was that it has virtual reality classes. Now, it has what it does is it uses Google 360 degrees images of places. So you've got like Taj Mahal, and it goes around, or it goes inside and visits and things, and you do the talking over the top. So the good thing about that is you could find on there now they have lots and lots of these virtual reality tours for you to choose from. So you could just choose anyone you like, and you do the speaking over the top, which is really very nice, because you could do like the one I saw was for the Empire State Building. So you go there and you move it around yourself, and then you could say, well, this is the main entrance here, and every day through this door, I don't know, 500,000 people go through it. I don't know, and how many floors do you think it is? And so it's better than an image, just like a still photographic image, because you can move around and see other things around there as well. I thought about and also you make it personal. You just put your own personal things in there. Perhaps you, I don't know, when you were a kid, you dropped an ice cream all down yourself from the top floor and things like that. The kids like, hearing you when you put something personal in there. I know also that a lot of museums and that are doing a lot of virtual reality tours, which is great. I want to have the opportunity to tell my students about what happened to me when I was young. When I was in the British Museum in London, I was about 4 years old, and there was a Cleopatra museum like exhibition, part of the exhibition, and there was Cleopatra's chair, which I went and sat on, and the legs were moving like this, and the guard had to get me off it. So I see photographs of like Cleopatra stuff now and think I sat there. So you can tell your students, like, personal things that happen to you as well, which is good. Now with Nearpod, what they do is they also offer you complete lesson plan. So you can follow their lesson plan and use their virtual reality tour as part of the lesson, as they recommend, or offer, best said. Or you can just use the actual virtual reality part of it and just make your own, which is really nice. That's something that I'm going to do, and I'm excited to do that. So yeah, so that's good. So moving on, producing class material for ESO and Bachillerato. What kind of things could you produce? Well, apart from the vocabulary that we said before, you could also perhaps record a conversation that you had with a friend of yours, which I know that another assistant has done as well, which was I saw on the Facebook page, having a conversation with two different people with two different accents, and then ask the students some true or false questions at the end of it. Okay. Another one is ISL Collective. ISL Collective has a lot of stuff on there, but they also have a lot of really good short videos that you could use as well, like the perfect ones that you always look for and then spend hours and hours not finding what you want. But it's there on ISL Collective. They've got them. Short videos where you could ask questions for comprehension and and grammar and things like that. Other short documentaries as well, which are good to use for older students, are those made, I found them, which are really very nice, are made by The Guardian newspaper. They're on YouTube. They're short videos about things about people, which are really interesting, like why do taxi drivers in Cuba or in La Habana earn more than doctors? Things you've always wanted to know, that's there on these short Guardian videos. So check them out, they're good as well. Bamboozle, this is also a page which I know that a lot of assistants have been using as well. It creates games, so it's handy to have. As I said, all this, there are so many, there are hundreds of different sites, okay? But I think when you come face to face with the fact that you've got to produce things to do online, and if you're not used to doing that, if you're used to just like being in the class and being present with with the students, that it's rather daunting when you have to start, doing things on the computer. I know that's what happened to me, but the idea of this is to get together the names of a dozen sites which are working well and people are happy and comfortable with, where you can do what the basic stuff that you want to do is there. It's easily described on the YouTube links that are there, and the site is so well set up that you can move around it, move around the whole site comfortably. Okay. Yes, we mentioned Quizlet, we mentioned Mentimeter for the word clouds, Kahoots. Oh, another one. Okay, this is a nice one as well. Is Mindomo. All right. Now on this site you can create mind maps, which I think is quite a nice thing to do as well. So you can actually do them while you're speaking about it, or you can actually create them yourself, taking a central idea and then going off different colors, different formats that that you can use on there. Also, we've got TED Talks. There are some long TED Talks and there are some short TED Talks. So obviously find some nice shorter TED Talks. You can use those with Bachillerato and they work very well. And I think that's about it. Has anybody got any other places that they use, that they can share with everybody? Please feel free to put them in, if you have, down the bottom there. Obviously, they won't appear on the papers that I give you, but okay. So short YouTube videos, Great Big Story is a good channel. Good. Okay. Okay. Gym Kit, and I use Akinator. All right. Good. Canva is good for making resources. And here we have Learn English Teams at BritishCouncil.org. Genially, that you mentioned, is really good. Okay, good. Oh, okay. And TED Ed videos as well. That's good. Yeah. I'd also like to say to you that, I know it must be difficult for you being here, being so far away from your families. And as I said before, thank you for continuing with the program and showing you that support for your schools as well. And I think half of us thought that, I'm here permanently. I think half of us thought that, it'll be over in a few weeks and we don't want to, we still want the terraces open in Madrid in the summer. So I think we're still hanging on to that hope. I know I am anyway, but, it must be hard for you, as I said. And just so you know that, us in the BEDA team and me in particular, we're here for you. If you, need anyone a shoulder to cry on, or just to go out for a beer with once this whole thing's over, then I think most of you have got my email address anyway, and from years before. If you haven't, I'll give it to you again, and I'm here to help you with anything. that you want at all. Okay. There you go. There's me. Should be on there somewhere. So we've got TED Talks for schools, and they have mind puzzles that are great. Very good. Okay. Also, you can use Cambridge Weekly to get up weeks worth of material for students, depending on the level. Good. And the picture, yeah, short stories. They're great as well. So, okay, that's it from me then. So, as I said, it's nice to see your faces there, and you know, all the best with this. And we're here if you need us. Okay, so I'll hand over to Rebecca now.
Thank you, Claire. Thanks so much. And obviously, I mean, thank you so much for the words of support as well. Definitely same message coming from us, from Esther, from Anna, from myself, from all of us from the team. Obviously, we're all in this together. We've done the best that we can in responding to emails and calls. And so, I mean, you can still call. The office is still open to call. If you do need, you know, the timing. There's some hours in the morning. I think until 2 o'clock, and then after 2 o'clock, I think from in the afternoon from 4 to 6. I'll have to check. If you need to call, you can email me. But we've obviously been in touch a lot over email the last month, the last few weeks here. So, but like I said, yeah, anything that you guys need at all, if you need extra resources, or maybe you know, if your school would like to, you know, have a meeting with all of us and discuss kind of what you guys could do, or some suggestions or anything, we can always set up a Skype call or whatever type of call to talk with your school, with you, and one of us from the team. But yeah, just please do keep us keep in contact with us with anything that you might need. And we'll, of course, I mean, obviously this is a changing situation. If anything, you know, happens, we're always, you know, giving you the most updated information that we have available to us. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for being here today. And like I said, let us know if you need anything else via email. We're here. Virtual hugs to everybody, and stay safe and healthy. So I think, you know, whenever you guys are all set, you know, take down the resources that you want, write down from the chat that other people had shared. But we'll also be sending out the PDF with everything that Claire had spoken about today. So just look out for that email. All right. And unless there's any last minute questions, you could write in the chat or anything else. That's it for now. Until next time, hopefully soon. Hopefully we'll be able to see you guys at graduation like normal, but we'll we'll have to take that step by step and see what happens with the plans from Comillas. We'll see. But yeah, anyways, besos and abrazos for everybody virtual.